We've been seeing an agreement for workers to return. We have seen over the last month a lockout because workers did not want to accept the terms put forward to them. And now you have a situation where workers want to return and are saying, as we return, we want the contractors and Eskom to talk to our representatives so that we finalize matters. And that's where matters are stalled for the past 2 months.
Eskom says construction is now at a near standstill at Medupi. However, it still expects Unit 6 to start delivering power to the grid in around June. Spokesperson Khulu Phasiwe says the workdays lost can be recovered provided that the strike ends soon. Well, the problems at Medupi and the xenophobic violence recently have brought leadership issues to the fore in South Africa. Do we still have leaders who can share valuable secrets with the world? Adriaan Groenewald believes that we do. He's the author of Seamless Leadership, Universal Lessons from South Africa. He joins us in studio now. Great to have you with us,
Good to be with you.
And congratulations on your book. You must agree with me. Along with self-help books, there's a lot on leadership out there. You say that there's a plethora of philosophies, but if we look at it, there's still a huge lack of leadership. How does this concept of seamless leadership change things?
You're right, Francis. I mean, the world has never had so much knowledge and information and access to leadership principles and books and training and programs and development in big corporates and so on. But still, we're in a bit of a mess. It's a global thing. It's not just a South African thing. The world has moved so fast. Things like technology have actually complexified life in a way. Things happen too fast for leaders. Leaders are not defaulting back to universal thinking. They're not defaulting back to big picture thinking. They don't have an attitude of impossibility like we saw our previous President Mandela had. They see boundaries, and you can't see boundaries anymore. And this is all about seamless leadership. You don't see boundaries. You shift boundaries. You move around them. It is about seeing how
I like what you say, that those boundaries in our minds, we know this, stop us from doing so much. So leaders are the ones that have to break those.
Correct. They are the ones who must believe that anything is possible. And all they have to do is shift the boundaries, fight the boundaries, get through it, break through it. And that's a seamless leader's attitude. There are no boundaries. Anything is possible. They can simplify this complex world that we find ourselves in, which most leaders are totally underestimating, really struggling. Leaders are struggling to understand, read, and really know how to lead in this world where they can't predict anything in the future. So what happens is their style, their approach is put under pressure. If they're not authentic and they're not very clear about their leadership models and philosophies, they are caught out like never before because they are more visible than ever before. So seamless leadership is all about simplifying. It's the ability to think universal, to attach your leadership approach to those principles that will never change.
Okay, now some people may be surprised that one of the interviews you did, because you spoke to a range of leaders, was with President Jacob Zuma. Right. And you do give a preamble where you acknowledge that it's difficult to write about our leader because there are diverse, strong views, natural for a president. He's attracted a lot of attention. Let's start with the good, because you say he's obedient to a process-driven approach. Explain that.
Yeah, so some leaders are very assertive in their decision making. They do it too fast, and the world seems to like them, but they make more mistakes very often. But President Zuma, his philosophy is process driven. So he goes through a process when he makes his decisions, and that process includes consultative, work with lots of stakeholders around him, and that's good. That's kind of the South African way. In today's world, that is starting to be a big challenge, because you want to consult widely, yet your constituency, South Africa, the world expects you to be very fast in your decision making, and that's not happening necessarily. So he comes across as not unassertive, and in fact, a slow decision maker. While he would say, no, hold on, universally I have to consult a huge constituency. We have a very broad range of needs in this country, and he's right, but the world needs him to be faster.
This comes down to a lot of things, culture, the history of the ANC, the tripartite alliance, and like you say, there are benefits to it, but do we need to, and how do we move away from collective leadership if it's causing that problem?
Well, we have to stay, and that's the dilemma we find ourselves in. You have to stay with collective decision-making and collective homework, but do it much quicker, absolutely. And you have to understand that the world is in a mindset of now, especially the next generation. They get things instantly. They want things now. They want decisions to be now. So President Zuma, on the one end, he's very wise to not be pushed into quick decision-making too quick. But on the other end, I think they are totally underestimating the ability to consult cleverly, quickly, wisely, to zoom in on the essence of every situation and then act very quickly and decisively.
At least you do say this protects us to some extent from a dictatorship. Absolutely. So does this bode well for South Africa for peaceful transitions in future?
Absolutely. So that's, again, another dilemma which leaders sit with these days. On the one end, the whole structure of the ANC and the collective decision-making, in some respects, some would say that's now beginning to disappear. That is a great benefit. That's why our country is such a strong democracy, even though we're a one-party state to a large degree. But still, because of that internal collective style, we are where we are. And in fact, it's the very President Zuma that's allowing all this criticism and this open debate and conversation. But still, the world needs him to be more decisive.
You also interviewed a DA leader, Helen Zille.
Yes.
Does it surprise you that she's just stepped down? That was after the book was written?
No, I think her timing is probably very good. Who knows the exact reasons? But there's someone who's totally underestimated, we speak about creating movement in leadership. It's all about creating movement. And she's created incredible movement with her team of the DA. So great leadership there. You can't dispute it with her. But I think the timing is right. The timing is right for someone like Mmusi Maimane. Our country needs it. And I hope he can take that pressure, that he can actually lead the way he's needed to lead.
I do find Helen Zille has been quite combative on Twitter. This is widely understood with the media as well, and this relates to business leaders as well. Is there anything here that talks about media relations, which I'm interested in? Do leaders need to have a thick skin in this world where they're under scrutiny?
Yeah, and this is the challenge that they have. They are so under scrutiny, so they have to learn to deal with Twitter, to deal with the instancy of information and the media
constant criticism sometimes.
Constant criticism, visibility, and therefore the authenticity is very important. People will understand that I'm not perfect if I'm Helen Zille or Jacob Zuma. So I need an incredible humility to be able to apologize and to be real. And that's what people want. I mean, the media can make you very superficial in many ways. But people want authenticity. They want someone who knows their values, they know where they're going, and when they make mistakes, they have the absolute humility and strength to say, sorry, gee, I made a mistake there. I see some of that in Helen Zille, but you can see that even this new fast-paced world has caught her by surprise. She's running with a huge following, hundreds of thousands of people on Twitter, and sometimes, yes, she would make mistakes, and that's normal.
Let's talk about a business leader who I think is seen as an authentic leader, Mark Kutifani, who was here with Anglo Gold, now the head of Anglo. However, you look at his understanding of people, his appreciation of the people who work for him. He's had to announce huge retrenchments, and that undoubtedly undermines the trust. I know a lot of people at Anglo who don't trust him. Are there any lessons for leaders who have to do something like that? Who have to say tomorrow 40% of you have to go?
Now, those days where you don't do that sort of thing are gone. So the first thing is to never make promises that will not happen. To never promise your people that we'll give you a job for life like decades ago. So that's very important. And then I've heard people say the time will come when someone would not ever want to be a CEO of a publicly listed company because of the pressure that's so huge. So the trick is, again, someone like him will get through it, I think, because he's got huge authenticity, he knows himself, his models are clear, and I think he's a great example of a seamless leader. None of the leaders in the book are perfect examples, but they demonstrate elements of it, or when I interviewed them, they reminded me of certain principles. Mark Kutifani stands out. I think he'll get through it. And again, he's kind of pioneering. In today's world, no one can almost judge Obama or President Zuma or Mark Kutifani because they are in a world that there's
unprecedented pressure, like you said.
It's unprecedented. And that's why simplicity, no boundaries, seamless leadership is the answer.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Adriaan Groenewald, the author of Seamless Leadership.